Hello and welcome to the Maple Grove City Report. I'm Dave Kaiser from CCX Media. Thanks for joining us, along with Heidi Nelson, Maple Grove City Administrator. Welcome, Heidi.
Thank you.
We are here to talk about the meeting on April 5th, and unusual for the city of Maple Grove, you were there into the late hours of the night, weren't you? About
we were.
A 3-hour meeting, and one main topic was the street reconstruction project. We'll get to that in a couple minutes. Two items actually were pulled from the consent agenda. The first was about the Lake Improvement Program cost sharing. Give us a little overview of what this is and what the movement going forward is.
Yeah, so the Lake Quality Commission on an annual basis does various lake improvement projects at the lakes around Maple Grove. So Councilmember Jager serves as the liaison to this committee. So she just pulled it to kind of recognize the work that's going to be done in the various lakes in Maple Grove this year. So about $60,000 dedicated matching funds to this effort.
And about 23 projects, it sounded like. So again, a lot of work happening at the lakes. The other item pulled from consent was an item relating to the Citizens Advisory Committee. Again, what is this committee and what are some of the things they're looking forward to on a work plan? Yeah,
so the Citizens Advisory Committee works on kind of a variety of projects, generally kind of at the request of the City Council or work that they identify. And the Council had identified 2 projects this year for the CAC, one being to kind of look at historical societies throughout the metro area and kind of understand the work and the entities that exist in other cities and kind of what the role of the city is with those historical societies. And then also in 2022 we would be doing the community survey, and so kind of getting a head start on looking at what those questions are for that upcoming community survey.
So those 2 items certainly we'll be talking about in the future here on the Maple Grove Report. Now to the presentations. One presentation during the evening, and that was the Maria's Voice presentation. Again, a little background on what that was, and a surprise element to the presentation as well, I understand.
Yeah, so this was a nice presentation for the first responder. It's a first responders creed, a plaque that they was presented to the chief and members of the police department for their work around domestic violence. And of course, we'll recall that this whole effort grew out of the tragedy of the death of Maria Pugh almost a year ago here. It was towards the end of May last year. And they have started an effort called Maria's Pledge, Maria's Voice, and they're working with the business community on what's called Maria's Pledge. And so this is really trying to work with businesses to educate their employees so they can recognize signs of domestic violence, be aware of domestic violence issues in the community, and then connect people with resources. So if you're interested in getting involved, just Google Maria's Voice. But nice to have them back. They've really kind of turned this tragedy and loss in their family into a really organized effort to try to help raise awareness and education about domestic violence in the community.
Very nice presentation at the meeting on the 5th. Let's move ahead to the fire department, and we're going to take you back to the 90s here with a couple firefighters that started at that point, but now are retiring. Tell us about the 2.
Yeah, so 2 firefighters honored Fire Captain Mario Donato, who began his career with the Maple Grove Fire Department in 1996 and grew through his role to the role of fire captain. So we genuinely appreciate his over 25 years of service. And then firefighter Frank Otten, who began his service with Maple Grove Fire in 1997. And so very remarkable, and genuinely appreciate not only their service but also the sacrifice of their family for them to provide this service to the community over the years.
Congratulations to the 2, and Chief Bush continued on with his COVID update. What are some of the latest numbers and information you're hearing from the chief?
Yeah, so we're seeing a little uptick in cases, certainly in Hennepin County and in Maple Grove, but we're also, it's kind of this race to the vaccine, so also seeing a lot of increase in vaccinations, and with those vaccinations now being available to anybody in Minnesota 16 and over. So we'll continue to monitor that and see if the governor makes any changes to the orders in terms of gathering size, that kind of a thing, as we continue to make progress on vaccinations. And then he did also mention we conducted a test of our new Code Red system earlier this week. And just for folks' information, it is a way for us to get emergency messages out to the community. And so you can sign up on your cell phone, your mobile device, or if you have a landline in Maple Grove, you'll automatically receive a call. So information available on our website there. If you go to the front page of the website and go to I Want To, you can get information about the Code Red system.
Wonderful. Website again, maplegrovemn.gov. You can find out all sorts of information there, and also information about the next meeting. We'll tell you about that in just a bit. Now to the public hearing. So that first couple minutes we've done here was about the first half hour of the meeting. Now we get into the 2 hour and 15-minute time of the meeting, and this related to street reconstruction. Give us a big overview. This is a big project, big plan that the city has on an ongoing basis. What is street reconstruction all about for the city, and why is it so important?
Yeah, so we have about 280 lane miles of road in the local streets in the city of Maple Grove that we own and maintain. And we have a program that we move through the city and do projects for street reconstruction and maintenance, and we set out a program for every 5 years. Based upon a review of the condition of the streets, the condition of the pavement, curb, that kind of thing, stormwater issues, utilities, and we select different neighborhoods to do on a rotational basis. So every 5 years we set out a program that is going to define what neighborhoods we're going to be in for those next 5 years. And generally we're trying to get after every street about every 30 years. Try to get 30 years of life out of a street. Depends on the soils, the conditions,
Sure.
you know, the materials when the street was constructed, that kind of a thing. But generally we try to get 30 years out of a street investment. So at about nearly 300 miles, we got to be doing almost 10 miles of street every year to keep that up, so that we're keeping up with the maintenance of our streets. So the neighborhoods that we're doing this year, the Appaloosa Woods area, which is way out on kind of a large lot development on the west edge of the city. In the middle of the city, Energy Hills, Woodland Ponds, Wintergreen. There's some townhomes in that area, which always kind of brings a different issue to the table. And then also Huntington Farms East and West. And so those are the neighborhoods we're going to be in this year. This is always tends to be a long meeting because there's generally, you know, a lot of interest from the public. We do take the approach in Maple Grove, and have for many, many years. This has been a long-standing program. The city covers half of the cost through the tax levy for the street improvements. Half of that cost gets assessed out to the homeowner.
Right.
And then we do cover the cost of the utilities through our utility funds. So it's kind of a cost-sharing program. You know, all cities kind of do it differently.
Right.
I've worked in cities
Right.
where 100% is on the tax levy, and then there's other cities where it's 100% assessed out to the homeowners. Or some cities have started to do more creative things like franchise fees, that kind of a thing, to cover these costs. But this has been a long-standing program of the city to kind of do that 50-50 cost share on the street costs. And so heard from a number of neighborhoods, those larger lots out in Appaloosa, the cost's a little bit higher because of the lot size out there. And then I think townhomes, you know, you kind of have this mix of, they have some private streets, but they also have access to the public system. And so we really view this as, you know, it's a program. It's not about the one street. It's really about the city streets and about how we go through the city to maintain that infrastructure. So took quite a bit of testimony that night, but the council did adopt this to move forward with these projects. And so we'll order the feasibility reports, establish public hearings. Oh, I'm sorry. We accepted the public hearing rules at this meeting. So we'll be moving forward to get bids on these projects and get out for construction. Likely a May timeframe for starting on those projects.
And we should add, too, that this is quite a process for the city ahead of time to let the residents know. So obviously people had to know that there was a meeting this week where they could come and talk about it. What's the process ahead of time? What's the notification? Because again, residents do get a lot of information about this coming up.
Yeah, we even start when we set that 5-year program. We start communicating then to let them know, hey, 3 years from now we're going to be looking at your neighborhood. Here's a heads up about that. And then as that year comes about where we're getting ready to do that project, a lot of communication. We want to know about stormwater issues that are occurring in the neighborhood, those kinds of things, and have that discussion early on so that we can address those as part of the project. So a lot of communication goes on with the residents in advance of this. And we did provide both an online and then an in-person option for the meeting, you know, knowing that people may not be comfortable coming in. So yeah, lots of advanced communication and information goes out, and our staff really does try to make themselves available to talk with the residents and address any of those issues that they might have in advance.
Very good, and we will keep you up to date as the projects move throughout the year here on the Maple Grove Report. To community development, let's talk quickly about the Grove. This is a new medical building coming in that Grove area. Give us a little background and the size and what happened at the meeting.
Yeah, so this is a nice little one-story medical office building, about almost just 6,000 square feet in the Grove, kind of just due north of the new Taco Bell. There's a dentist office there, kind of to the north of that, across the street from the hospital. So nice little new medical office building there, nice addition to the Grove.
Next item was a new area coming with some housing. This is, I understand, probably a fill-in area, Palisades at Nottingham. How many homes? What was the discussion here?
Yeah, so this is being brought forward by Zender Homes, and this is out on the Nottingham Parkway area. 7 lots, infill development. We have a couple of areas out there where there's still some larger homesteads, and in fact there's a couple of them to the south of this area that will eventually develop.
Okay.
So this was just kind of an infill area. It does connect to an existing neighborhood. At Planning Commission there were some issues raised around tree preservation and some grading, stormwater issues, and so the developer did meet with the neighborhood in the interim between Planning Commission and City Council and work through those issues. So that one got approval, so we'll see probably some grading on that site. Lots of tree preservation though, so these will be custom graded lots.
Next ahead to what's coming up in community development and also in economic development, and we've got some meetings coming up here. The 12th, a Planning Commission, the 19th, a work session. On the 12th, Shake Shack comes back. Where are we with Shake Shack?
Yeah, so Shake Shack was in front of the Planning Commission at their last meeting. Some concerns about pedestrian crossings, pedestrian access, as well as parking. So the developer was going to go back and work on that, and that'll come back on the 12th of April then.
And the 19th, a work session?
Yeah.
And what are some of the topics that we've been talking about in the past that are coming back again?
Yeah, so we're going to come back with that housing study recommendations, and then also the Main Street project improvements. So we're going to be taking another look at those plans and get some finalization of that with the council.
Next report was from Ken Ashfield about Public Works and Engineering, and he had to take a break after his long talk about street rehab, so he had only had one item here, and this deals with the railroad.
Yeah, so there's going to be some work being done up on Zachary at 81 on that railroad crossing, some closure over the night. We're taping this on Wednesday. That will be tomorrow night on Thursday. So kind of just an overnight closure there to do some rail crossing work.
All right, and we had a couple updates from Heidi yourself at the meeting, talking about some of the dates coming up. We've mentioned the Board of Appeal quite a few times. That is coming up on the 8th and 22nd. You can go to the city's website to certainly find out more about that process and those meetings. And then another work session to talk about on May 3rd, and that's the community center coming back. What are we looking for here in this next step?
Yeah, so we're working on our pre-design work to submit to the state for state bonding in their formal process that will be due in June. And so we're coming back to the council to talk about kind of the costing and those elements that they want to see in that project going forward in preparation for that state submittal.
So the council was having so much fun, they said, why not have another meeting at the end of the night? So they went into an EDA meeting, which didn't last long, but one important item talked about there, that was the Woodland Mounds Management Contract. Again, give us a little background and what the action was to move ahead for 5 years. Yeah,
so we work with Great Lakes Management to provide property management services at Woodland Mounds. Not only Woodland Mounds, our senior housing facility, but also our scattered site, family workforce housing type units. And so Woodland Mounds, we established a contract with them about 5 years ago with Great Lakes Management, and it's been going really well. So this is an extension to that contract for property management services.
So that wraps up your report on the meeting from April 5th. Again, a longer meeting for the city, and the next meeting coming up on the 19th. We'll give you more information about that in a minute. But as always, we want to talk about some of the other things happening around the city, and the first is related to free rides for vaccines. So you mentioned it earlier, a lot of people thinking about vaccines now, and how's the city helping out getting people to vaccines? Yeah,
so our My Ride service is offering free rides for COVID-19 vaccinations. The ride must be reserved via our phone call-in line, so that's 493-2200. And it's one round trip for the first vaccination and one round trip for the second vaccination. And then the ride must be to and from state-approved vaccination sites that are currently within the My Ride service. And so information available, if you give them a call over there, they can help you out with that. But just want to make it a little bit easier for folks to get out and get those vaccines.
Very good. We've talked in past shows about jobs coming up for the seasonal time, summertime. Still job openings? What are some of the latest that people should apply for?
Yeah, so we have a variety of positions open. Pups kennel attendant, youth sports coordinator, indoor playground attendant, town green park supervisor. So lots of opportunities for summer employment with the city on our city website.
Yep, website, the place to go to find out more about the application process and also some of the descriptions on the jobs, even salary information there. Flag retirement box, something that I had not heard about before, but apparently something that happens. Tell us about the connection and nice partnership here and what these boxes are for and where they're found.
Yeah, so the Osseo Maple Grove Legion Post 172 had reached out to us about placing a flag retirement box at the Government Center. And so it is located in our lobby, kind of down by the council chambers. So if folks have a flag at home that, you know, is worn or they're looking to replace something like that, I know a lot of folks are interested in making sure that they're taking proper care of that flag as they're disposing of it. So this is a great opportunity to do that. You can drop it off during regular business hours, Monday through Friday, and then the Legion comes and empties that and takes care of that and disposes of those flags in the proper way. So
Very
kind of a
nice.
nice addition to the Government Center.
And I understand already some social media feedback, so people are very thankful for this
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah, it's hard to find, and
Yeah.
you know you want to do the right thing, and so good to have that service available to our residents.
Let's think more ahead to summertime. One of the things people love to do in Maple Grove is have some fires out in the backyard, but they need a permit, and now's the time to get that. How do we do that?
Yeah, available on our website. It's a recreational burn permit, and it's free. Our goal here is really just to provide education and information about kind of what the rules around these recreational fires are. We know they're very popular in the summertime and into the fall, and so permits are free and available on the city's website, and we just encourage all residents to go out and do that process.
Great. Very timely topic here to touch on is severe weather. We had some already, so
Yeah.
we've started the season, but there's a special week coming up.
Yeah.
What's going to happen on those particular days, the 12th through the 16th?
Yeah, April 12th through the 16th is Severe Weather Awareness Week in Minnesota, and each day of the week focuses on a different weather safety topic. So, in fact, the sirens went off today at 1 o'clock, first Wednesday of the month. So alerts and warnings, severe weather, lightning, hail, which we've had quite a bit of already this week. Floods, we've had enough rain to cause some drainage issues in the city over the last couple days. And then tornadoes, and on that Thursday of that week, there's going to be statewide tornado drills at 1:45 and 6:45. And then also dealing with issues of extreme heat. So just a good week to refresh yourself with dealing with severe weather issues as we go into the summer months.
Right, 'tis the season starting a little bit early for us this year. Another thing that started early was people getting out into the yards, and you've answered their call for the Yardway site. It is open now. Where is that, and how can people utilize it?
Yeah, so the Yardway site is open for the season. Of course, it's just north of 610, right on the Maple Grove Parkway Road, just north and kind of east of Target up there, so if you're familiar with that area. So just a reminder that you can find information on their website about what you can bring there. It's mgyardwaste.com, and that will also give you the hours and that kind of a thing. And then make sure that people bring their ID with them. You just have to prove you're a resident of Maple Grove, and then it's free to use.
Very good, easy enough. Speaking of trees, let's talk a little bit about the emerald ash borer. So the city taking a very serious look at this. Where are we now with the emerald ash borer?
Yeah, so we are kind of taking a two-pronged approach, really. There's some trees that are going to have to be removed. They're progressed to a point where they're becoming a safety hazard. But those that we have caught early enough, we're going to try to do some treatment. So we're kind of doing a combination approach here. But we do did an inventory, and we estimate that we have about 3,600 public ash trees in the right-of-way in residential neighborhoods. So people are going to start to see some of this work in their neighborhoods and these trees coming down. In some areas, we'll be doing some replacement. A lot of times where those, it used to be a practice to plant trees maybe between the sidewalk and the curb of the road, and that's really not our practice anymore. It becomes a real issue for snow plowing. The trees create issues with sidewalks and thriving in that smaller space. And so we probably won't be going back and replacing some of those conditions, but if you have questions, you can give a call to Public Works. If you see work happening in your neighborhood, give a call to Public Works, and they can talk to you about the approach they're taking, whether it's going to be more removal or treatment. But that work is moving forward this summer.
And as a resident, if I have an ash tree on my own property that might be having some problems, what's the best avenue to take there? Can the city help me out at least to talk about that and get some maybe other input?
Yeah, and we have a number of resources available on our website.
Great.
And we have contacts there for some tree companies that we're working with that will extend
Okay.
some of those same services at a reduced cost to residents.
Very nice.
So for treatment, you know, if you have an ash tree that dies in your backyard, it can be very expensive to get that tree removed out of there, because a lot of times they can't limb them down anymore. You know, they got to crane them out, so it can be a very expensive endeavor. But go to our website, search on Emerald Ash Borer, lots of information available there.
Good. That site again, maplegrovemn.gov, to find out more about that. Ranch View Water Tower, it's time for a little snazzying up. What's happening at the water tower?
Yeah, so we're working on repainting the water tower up on Ranch View, and this is kind of up off of Upland Lane, up by the south of the hospital up there. Includes repainting the interior and exterior surfaces of the water tower. We also take this opportunity to address any structural, operational, and safety improvements at that time. So you might see that a lot of the cellular equipment has been moved off the tower onto kind of a standalone tower, temporary pole on the side. And then you'll see some curtains going up to control dust and paint spray, that kind of a thing. But that work's going to be going on here. The goal is to get it done kind of before the hottest months of the summer, so kind of towards the end of June.
Okay. We have an update on the Maple Grove Ambassadors Program. A big thank you to go out, and some news looking ahead.
Yeah.
First, what's the thank you?
Yeah, so the thank you is to Amina, Ella, and Grace for kind of extending their time as Maple Grove Ambassadors for a second year.
Right.
So they've carried us through 2020 here into 2021. But they are proceeding with the candidate program for 2021. So they are currently looking for applicants for that process. So information's available on maplegroveambassadors.com about that.
Okay, congratulations to those that will be getting involved, and thanks to those that have served for an extra period of time. Step to It Challenge is back again. This happens during the month of May. Who are the partners here, and what's the fun that people can have?
Yeah, so Maple Grove residents can sign up now for this free, fun 4-week challenge to get residents up and moving. They compete with friends and family to see who is the most active, and this really runs from May 1 to the end of May 28th, or towards the end of May. There's even a chance to win Twins tickets. So all you have to do is sign up and log your daily walks and physical activity at steptoit.org.
Very good, and the county a big partner in that event as well and program. Indoor Farmers Market, we've got one last time, and then we go outdoors. So when can we shop indoors?
Yeah, April 18th is our last indoor market, and this one again is over at the shops at Arbor Lakes, kind of in that former Forever 21 space there. Hours are 11 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. And the one that they had at the end of March, I think it was March 21st, was very busy, very successful.
Excellent.
We had over 20 vendors with a wide variety of products. So
Good.
Look forward to that. April 18th is the last day over there. And then outdoor markets start on Thursdays in mid-May back at the community center.
All right, watch the website to find out when those are happening. Final note we want to pass along is Concert on the Lawn, a favorite for the past couple years in the city of Maple Grove. It's coming again. When? And people are going to ask, when will we find out who's performing? Answer those questions for us.
Yeah, so we're asking folks to save the date for September 18th at Central Park for the second annual Concert on the Lawn. And this year, the Maple Grove Lions are taking the lead on this project. If you'll recall, last year, the city, Parks and Rec, kind of did that, but this year the Maple Grove Lions are stepping in, the foundation, to do that event. So anticipating announcement of lineup here probably in May.
All right. Stay with us. We'll let you know that information. Heidi, thank you so much for the information again today. An update of what's happening in Maple Grove. Let's leave you with that next council meeting date. It is on the 19th of April, 7:30 at the Government Center. And you see in the middle of the screen the website. We mentioned it many times throughout the program. A lot of information about all the programs, things going on, jobs. There on the site, maplegrovemn.gov, and phone number at the bottom of the screen. For Heidi Nelson, I'm Dave Kaiser. Thanks for joining us once again on the Maple Grove City Report.